evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now the topic of this video is going to be straight out of left field, and I haven't done a video like this for a long time, but occasionally an incident occurs here online where there's a lot of misinformation and confusion going on, and when this happens I tend to like to step in and do an investigation. So the particular case we're going to be exploring tonight involves a popular YouTube vlogger of the makeup tutorial variety, allegations of abuse, drug use and mental illness, and the way in which even the most badly thought out and put together conspiracy theories can be cobbled together online despite practically no real evidence of anything sinister going on. So before we can get to the juicy stuff, firstly a bit of background. Who is Marina Joyce? Well, as I mentioned, Marina Joyce is a 19-year-old YouTube vlogger with over 1 million subscribers whose content tends to fall in line with the standard British teen vlogger crowd, one of the most famous of which is Sam Pepper. In October 2014, Marina uploaded a video called A Story, in which she recounted her sexual abuse at the hands of Sam Pepper, and as such she was one of the original accusers in that case. However, it wasn't until late April 2016 that her viewers noticed a change in her content. In particular, there seemed to be a dramatic shift in the persona she was portraying in her videos, especially between her video called Sexy Things That Girls Do, published on the 29th of April 2016, and her next video on the 9th of May, 10 days later. So one way to illustrate the shift which her fans began to notice is to compare and contrast the two videos. Let's start with the video before her personality changed, called Sexy Things Girls Do, just as an example.
Hi guys, so today I'm doing Sexy Things Girls Do. So I asked you a question which was, can you tell me things that sexy girls do on Facebook and Twitter? If you want to follow me on Facebook and Twitter where you can ask me a question, I'll like your comment, I'll speak to you back on Facebook and Twitter, and yeah, it'll be awesome. So make sure that you follow me on those websites.
Now, whether or not the content itself agrees with you, I think it's fairly safe to say that she's pretty coherent here. She doesn't repeat herself too much, the editing and camera work are what you would expect, and all in all it's the stereotypical YouTuber vlogger style video. Now let's compare that video to the next video she made called How to Make a Boy Fall in Love with You.
How to make a boy fall in love with you. I think that it's just about being yourself and like spreading the love, and like you're an intelligent person. I think that's a way to make a boy fall in love with you.
From this clip we can see that she seems to be way more incoherent. The editing of the video appears to be way worse, she seems a lot more withdrawn and soft spoken, and she also seems to repeat herself quite a lot and go on long tangents. So all in all, something seems to have changed in her personality between these two clips. And this wasn't just a one-off bad or different video either. Over the next few months, this sort of incoherence and overall quote-unquote weird vibe would become a fixture of all her YouTube videos. So what we have here is a bit of a mystery, a YouTuber seeming to change their persona and become weirder and more incoherent in their videos all of a sudden. It's the kind of thing that perhaps only long-time viewers of a channel would notice, and a pretty localized phenomenon, but it's still pretty uncanny. And if perhaps Marina had properly addressed these concerns and given people answers for what they were worried about, then this would all have not been a story at all. But the question still remained hanging in the air at that point. What happened to Marina? Why was she acting this way all of a sudden? And in this vacuum of silence left by her, not addressing her fans' concerns properly, more and more conspiracy theories began to grow until on the 26th of July 2016, things came to a head and the story went from being just the concerns of a handful of people on a somewhat obscure YouTube channel to being headline news and an international internet viral phenomenon. So when you're dealing with numerous conspiracy theories, and that is exactly what we are dealing with with here, the one thing you always have to do is walk it straight back to where it came from. Conspiracies tend to hinge on the same small pieces of information over and over again. So what we have are 4 different sources here. A mysterious anonymous paste containing most of the main allegations that popped up on the 26th of July 2016, a forum thread on the Pretty Ugly Little Liar forums, various comments on Marina's videos, and of course tweets from the trending hashtag #SaveMarinaJoyce. And so what we're going to be doing for the majority of this video is investigating these various claims and showing the evidence or lack thereof for each of them. So the first claim to deal with is the claim in the large font at the top of the anonymous paste. There were several versions of this claim, but they all surround an event that Marina invited her fans to via Twitter, and the basic claim of course being that her account is being run by an abuser or a kidnapper or some other dark entity who was luring her fans to an event where the person could launch an attack on them, or a terrorist attack or something of that nature. Some went even so far as to speculate ISIS involvement. This theory hinged on a particular tweet in which he told people to meet her at 6:30 in Bethnal Green, London, if they wanted to party with her, which launched all sorts of confusion as to why she would be inviting people to a part of London so early in the morning, and also some of the way in which she phrased this seemed out of character. However, when you dig even a little further, you see this tweet was taken out of context, and I'll show you that when you read the context, there was no evidence of anything untoward going on here at all, and that quite frankly it's a little perplexing that this could be spun into anything that it clearly wasn't. So first, some basic facts. Bethnal Green isn't a park or a venue or anything like that. It is in fact an entire suburb of London. So being told to meet someone at Bethnal Green doesn't specify where they were supposed to meet her, and that's where the tweet was taken out of context. So when you read the full chain of tweets, you can actually see exactly what's going on here. Marina, like she's done in the past, is having meetups for her subscribers, and one of these meetups is a well-known morning rave that starts at 6:30 AM at a very well-known local venue in Bethnal Green. This isn't an event only for Marina, this is a event with 1,000 people attending it according to the Facebook stats, and so this theory of this attacker using Marina's fame to draw people there doesn't even make sense. Oh, and finally, the shooting that happened, as mentioned in the paste, actually happened in April. So all in all, this is clutching at straws. There is nothing out of the ordinary with these tweets. Next up, we have one of the most controversial of Marina's newer videos, namely the date outfit ideas video, which was published on the 22nd of July 2016, which was one of the things that helped precipitate a large amounts of theories relating to her being abused and forced to make these videos. As for the video itself, there are a number of points of interest to make the case that she's doing this under duress. The first of these is the rather extensive bruising that can be seen on her body, including her arms and legs at various points of the video. These injuries were taken as clear, undisputable proof that she was being abused. And of course, while it's worth noting that injuries like this are in and of themselves not proof of abuse and these could have been accidental, Marina herself has not been very forthcoming as to what actually happened. She firstly, during a live stream, refused to answer the question about the bruises, stating that explaining them would somehow be quote-unquote bad for a YouTube channel, and then proceeded to tell this particularly incoherent answer to Philip DeFranco during his interview with her.
I went to the forest once, and then I stacked over something, and I got really badly bruised, and I bruised quite easily, but I had quite a fall, and it wasn't very good. So yeah, because I like to go adventuring in the park and do stuff like that, I ended up falling over, and I tend to do well, yeah, basically that ended up happening, and then it gave me a load of bruises, and then yeah, I just ended up having all these bruises, and that's the reason why everyone said save Marina Joyce.
And so this is something which everyone is basically left to make their own minds up on. The second of these points of interest was a page in the corner of an early part of the video believed to be a script. This was taken as evidence that Marina was being forced to read off a script by forces unknown. However, when you understand that the entire video was in essence a product placement by a fashion company and that the video contains a decent amount of marketing speak,
Click the link or click this right now if you would like to buy their clothes.
the idea of her having a script of what the marketers wanted her to say isn't so sinister or surprising. The third main theory to come out of this video is at the section 13 seconds into the video. I will slow it down and play it for you a few more times. This is alleged to be a whispered cry for help on her part. However, according to Marina's mother, who actually helped film the video, this was actually her mother's voice being cut off in between takes. Once again, this is totally up to you to decide whether or not you believe her. Now, weighing against all of the allegations of possible abuse by a boyfriend or some other person here are the statements by both Marina's mother and one of Marina's close friends. In particular, they have both confirmed that Marina has been single for several months, thus there is no boyfriend to beat her up, and has been living with her mother during this time. And not only this, but she seems to have parted ways with her ex-boyfriend under quite good circumstances, and they seem to hold each other in high regard still. So basically, all in all, the evidence for abuse is actually quite ropey, at least when based on this video. But as per usual, all the sources are down below so that people can formulate their own opinions. This of course brings us to the other main angle to explain Marina's behavior: drug use. Now, there are a number of different theories that have been floated about specific drugs. The problem with all of these theories is that they rely on confirmation bias. Essentially, if you start with the conclusion that Marina's behavior is the result of a particular drug, then you can pick a set of symptoms for any drug you want, and then just cherry pick examples of her behavior to make your case. For example, if your drug of choice for her is airplane glue, and one of the main symptoms is dizziness, well then. And there we are, proof that she's huffing airplane glue 100% irrefutable. The truth is that she doesn't seem to display any sort of consistent symptoms associated with just one drug. This is why the claims have ranged from her being on amphetamines, which is a very potent stimulant, to her tripping on LSD, a hallucinogen, with no clear consensus on which drug she's actually on. So basically, all of these claims are just speculation. The one thing that is known is that one of Marina's friends is a very big marijuana user. The thing, of course, again, is that this doesn't prove anything about Marina's own drug use or lack thereof. It's simply a guilt by association fallacy. So all in all, there is no concrete proof that she's on drugs whatsoever. It's pretty much stuff that people are just saying. The other sinister sign believed to be evidence that Marina's account was under outside control was her video descriptions. In particular, people noticed how they seemed to change from a full description including all her social media links to one or only 2 lines after her personality shift. The thing is that there is no consistent pattern when it comes to her video descriptions. Of her quote-unquote weird videos, 4 of them had the full description as previously used, and she also used short descriptions in the recent past as well. So all in all, there's no real pattern there. Her video descriptions have never been consistent. So that's another easy to debunk theory right there. So if all of these theories are not supported by anything other than a narrow band of cherry-picked evidence and of course a lot of speculation, what are we actually left with? Well, the only major remaining theory that isn't as easy to debunk is the idea of Marina suffering from a mental illness, which could also explain the question of the bruising I mentioned earlier. This idea is supported by an alleged conversation that someone on Twitter had with Marina's former boyfriend. In that conversation, her former boyfriend claims that she suffers from a rare mental condition which set in around the same time that they met in late 2015. This condition only worsened over the year, according to him, leading to rapid shifts in her personality, though he claims that she is in recovery now and is getting a lot better. Now, you can choose to take him on his word or not to. The point here is that this testimony from a former boyfriend is probably the closest thing to a reasonable explanation of Marina's behavior by somebody close to her that anybody has been able to get. Finally, I should also mention that I haven't even covered any of the information that was faked. For example, this Twitter account posted out numerous fake tweets claiming that Bethnal Green had been cordoned off by the police, when in fact the image used came from when they found an unexploded bomb there in 2015. That was the kind of misinformation that only fed the story as it grew in size. Of course, it should go without saying that the biggest thing that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that almost every single one of these theories were completely false was when the police investigated. They found that the girl was okay and living with her mother as previously stated by her friend. And so that fact by itself blows a decent amount of these conspiracy theories completely out of the water. So hopefully by this point most of the people who are watching this video will have picked up that in reality this is a story with very little substance behind it. There's a lack of real actual proof for what people are saying. And of course, not only that, Marina and her family are also throwing off cryptic answers and not answering very simple questions. So then what is the point here? Well, the point here is just how poorly constructed this entire story really was. Because at the end of the day, this is and was a story with a lot more heat than light, and with the grand central quest for truth centering around someone who basically just wants to be left alone, it seems. But in the grand scheme of things, there's a lesson about online journalism and the panic it creates in the populace here. Shortly after the conspiracy theories began gaining traction, the online media immediately pounced, reprinting every and any conspiracy theory, half-truth, speculation, outright lie, or anything else that they found on random parts of the internet, and made the situation not only a lot worse, but also sound like it was very serious and dramatic, especially the ISIS angle, which was completely non-existent as I covered earlier. And especially they did all of that without actually looking at the truth of the specific, highly inflammatory claims. There was no fact-checking, it was simply reprinting what random people on the internet said. And it also took days for them to finally climb down and for anyone to even investigate these claims a little bit. In the meantime, of course, Marina was becoming more and more popular, jumping from under 1 million subscribers to over 2 million in a couple of days. Now, some have theorized that this was all a very well calculated publicity stunt on the part of Marina, which is certainly another conspiracy theory to be sure, but at the end of the day, everyone involved in this non-story basically came out smiling. I've been Dangerous Analysis, thank you to all of my patrons and subscribers, and as always,
good night and good luck.